how we're treating people. There's a shift that's happening, and you wrote in the book that, or research that you cited from O.C. Tanner, that talks about a paradigm shift of I go to the office to work to I go to the office to physically connect and build community.
Mm-hmm.
This is a massive shift.
Yep.
I've been in the workplace for decades, and it's never been that kind of a conversation before.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also around this thing about flexible work, talent fluidity, hybrid work, remote first, etc. So, talk to us about this considerable mindset shift of I'm going to a physical place as needed to have connection and community.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that the value proposition of the physical office has completely changed. And actually I think it's nice because it does finally serve, I think, a purpose as opposed to people going to work, the going to the office because they feel like they have to. And I think it really has helped people find more work more meaningful in general. At least that's, I mean, most of the feeling I'm getting about this is based on, if I'm being very honest, is anecdotal. Like when I listen to people talk and I ask them their opinion, I'm like, what do you think about going back to the office? Like the people seem like they enjoy it. Like they value the time. They appreciate what it brings to their life, as opposed to, they feel put upon. They feel um and I think that at the beginning, it seemed like organizations were being rather heavy-handed about it, that they were putting mandates in place that weren't necessarily based on having, these communications and conversations with their workforces about what worked best for people. But then I think they realized fairly quickly, and this is a testament to organizations and their ability to listen. They realized that that wasn't working well, and that people were not responding well, and so they did change their approach. I don't know if you guys noticed this as well, but they did kind of change their approach and say, "Okay, we understand, we hear you." And they did sort of shift, and it does seem like they backpedaled a little bit to having these, this co-creation of norms is kind of what I call it, where let's figure out by having dialogue what's going to work best for this group of people or that group of people. And it sort of seems like the results are very customized according to what is going to work for everyone. And to me, it really does seem like the arrangements that are coming out are much more flexible, much more attuned to what's going to be best for the workforce in general, and what work needs to be accomplished and how it's going to be best accomplished. So I'm actually, if you had asked me this 6 months ago, I think I would have had a different answer. I think I would have been more pessimistic. I think I would have been more harder on employers. Um, about it. And I don't know, I've changed my tune a little bit on this one. I think that employers are doing a pretty good job with this. And I think people are generally pretty satisfied with the results. Um, and I don't know. Normally I'm pretty hard on employers, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like it started off rocky in that I saw a lot of like heavy-handed kind of mandates going on, like you will do this, you will be in the office, you will. And I don't know, like it's settled to something that I think people really are valuing and appreciating. It's bringing I think there's nothing better for mental health than kind of seeing people face to face and really getting a sense of how people are doing, and building relationships that help to get work done more effectively and productively and efficiently. And I think it's accomplishing that to some degree. So that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? What are you guys hearing?
Well, Nate and I just we've been working remotely
Yep.
together for almost 3 years, and we just spent our
Yeah.
first full week together, and it was fantastic. I
Hmm.
think overall, our sense has always been that being in the office for the right reasons at the right times is really, really important
Yep.
for building culture, for building
Hmm.
connection, for building
Yeah.
a sense of belonging. I think we are acutely aware of the challenges that we're seeing at a global level with loneliness and isolation. which only were exacerbated throughout the pandemic, and giving people an opportunity to see one another in person and get to know one another in a deeper way. I think there's a younger generation coming up that doesn't necessarily understand or value being in the office in the same way. And I think that's a problem. And whether it's that mentors haven't made themselves available enough, or that office hours are not, what they should be. I mean, we had a chat with Sherry Turkle last year. Had a really fun conversation with her, and she was saying, "Look, I'm at MIT and I have my office hours, and people keep saying, can I Zoom? Can I do a phone call?" And she says, "Look,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be writing your recommendation. Don't you want to meet with me?"
Yeah.
Mm.
Seriously.
Some of this stuff is generational, but some of it really is. I don't know. We talk a lot about the 4-day work week, and I don't want to be overlong on these points, or get to a place of too much conjecture. But I think finding that right balance between hybrid and in the office is the sweet spot. And I think companies need to really make sure, to your point, and to honor the blog that you just wrote about getting people to come into the office, that time needs to be special. That time needs to be sacred. It needs to be purposeful.
Yeah.
So there is, it's incumbent upon employers to make sure that the draw, that the carrot that they're dangling to be in the office is the right one, that matches the values and the needs of the employees who are still, maybe pushing for a little more Zoom time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah. It's going to take time. It's just like AI. In the AI and talent intelligence isn't quite there yet. It's going to take some time. In the same way, this new version of culture, this new version of talent fluidity, and figuring out what's right for you, customization. Like, think of how we buy on Amazon. It's hyper customized. Wouldn't it be nice if in our work we could just have some customization with what we need for ourselves in our lives? And I'll represent one small side of that conversation that I think is really, really important, is that I used to drive 780 hours a year to commute to work. And now I get to be present and loving with my family, my wife and kids, with my pets in a way that I just never could. And that's irreplaceable. I don't care who you are. Like, that quality of life of I get to be a different kind of a dad and husband because I have this flexibility. I love my work. Don't worry. I'm going to come to work and do great work. That's table stakes. But man, to give me the space to be a better human being, that means a lot to me.